All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight on this edition of Wave Extra, Thursday, August 14th. I'm Jose Susaya, joining you all, of course, here in the Wave Now studio. Appreciate you folks, spending some time with us tonight, whether that's through our social streams on Facebook, X, Twitch, and YouTube, or, of course, on the Wave Now app. One of the many different ways we can break down the big stories of tonight throughout the morning and afternoon, and, of course, offer an opportunity to look at some other things going on in our neck of the woods here across the metro and where we live. Needless to say, we could start with, of course, the big focus that has sort of really taken a lot of people's conversation and attention when it comes to safety as a priority for the community, of course, is just the outcry from many neighbors about finding those solutions to safety after we found out that a young mother was the one who was shot and killed taking her little daughter to school at that bus stop on 10th and West Chestnut. And so to that end, as we break down kind of where things stand as of this point this evening, we're going to start with a bit of a summary from our Wave News reporter Fernando Garcia Francischini from this afternoon.
While police continue to look for the person who shot and killed her at the school bus stop behind me, her family gathered with city and community leaders on Thursday to demand change in Louisville. The family of Rhodesia Williams says it was routine for her to walk her 7-year-old daughter to her bus stop. But that routine walk quickly turned into tragedy.
I'm so devastated because I had to watch my sister lay on that ground and take her last breath, and there was nothing I could do about it.
Rhodesia's sister, Lovett Knuckles, was there because her daughter, Rhodesia's niece, also catches the bus at 10th and Chestnut. The family now left heartbroken and asking for justice.
And we want the killers caught ASAP. ASAP.
Balloons, flowers, and stuffed animals lay on the spot where Rhodesia took her daughter to so many times, her loved ones remembering her as a bright light in the family.
She was the life of the party. She had no filter. She didn't care.
And she'll light up the room every time she comes in.
Rhodesia's family gathered with city leaders and neighbors on Thursday morning to ask the community to come together to find solutions to the rise in youth violence in Louisville. Rhodesia's murder marks the second shooting near that same bus stop in less than a week. Her family wants the violence to stop now.
Be angry every day. Be proactive in your community. Be proactive in your neighborhood. Don't talk about it. Be about it.
LMPD is asking anyone with information to call the tip line at 574-LMPD. A spokesperson for LMPD says that 15-year-old that was initially questioned in relation to Rhodesia's murder actually turned out to be involved in the first shots fired incident in this area on the first day of school and is now the second team charged in that case. Fernando Garcia Francischini, Wave News.
So we appreciate that report and an update from Fernando. Now, we know LMPD did send officers out to the bus stop at 10th and Chestnut this morning as part of that show that there would be some presence, security sort of blanket there. A group of cruisers and officers were patrolling the area after yesterday's deadly shooting. Now, the stop is just feet away from the Chestnut Street YMCA, if you're familiar where that is, as well as where the Western Library also is. LMPD ended its patrols at the stop after, of course, they had declared at some point through their investigation that the stop itself was safe, or the 10th and Chestnut bus stop was safe. And that was, though, before yesterday's shooting. LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey has not said how long these officers are going to be keeping an eye on this particular spot.
My son was doing the right thing. He was on the school bus going to school. He was a sports player. He was a taxpayer. He was everything. I mean, there's people out here that was my kids' teachers that was at his funeral that can say, it's what you see is what you get. You know, this was a great kid. And no matter if you're a great kid or not, nobody has the right to take your life. Right. You know, this lady was out here with her kid on the bus stop, and we heard.
And so a reminder of the image for at least the description of the suspect that police say they are looking for. And you see, we presume to be a young man or person, and you see what's distinctive is that orange hoodie there. Now, the woman you just heard from there, because fortunately this is not the only incident of gun violence at a bus stop involving JCPS, parents, families, students. So that was part of a press conference this morning where several families talked about their own experiences. 3 different moms were detailing the understandable horror of finding out their kid had been shot and killed when that happened going to school. And so the woman you just heard from was Sharita Smith. She lost her son in 21. It was her son Tyree, 16-year-old Tyree. He was shot and killed waiting for other students at the bus stop there. Smith saying again, Tyree was just an innocent bystander. No parent should have to go through that pain. Once again, the suspected shooter in what happened Wednesday has not been arrested, but if you do know anything, you are asked to contact police.
My son was doing the right thing. He was on the school bus going to school.
I'll bring you back here in the studio now. Earlier today on Wave News at 6, we did hear from Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg, and we also had heard from him as part of that initial press conference out in downtown where there was that bit of that exchange, at least between LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey and one of the neighbors we talked to in that afternoon. But the mayor was part of that. And so he did come by the Wave News studios to further talk about what the plan is next, what he says his role or his office is going to do to kind of curb this. As Greenberg put it in this little clip we're about to show you, he says it's time to come together to prevent tragedies like this from happening again.
My hope is that everyone continues to work together, that we're not blaming each other for who's responsible for things that happen or not, but we're talking about how we can prevent this from ever happening again in our city. And I truly believe that everyone can help, even if they don't realize they can help.
So Mayor Greenberg and Metro Police are still urging anybody who was at that bus stop yesterday morning, if they have anything of value, to come forward and tell victims what it is they saw, that any tip, no matter how small, could help them find that clue that would catch a killer. And to that end, we have, of course, been following another case of just a violent crime, and this was sort of a breaking update where here at the team, Wave News at 11, it was the first update we had for you as we were wrapping up last night, and this was another investigation we wanted to confirm with police, see what they could tell us about the victim and any other knowledge. So you might have heard, we've now learned the name of a woman who was killed on West Broadway last night. Not only that, but the new information from today up to this point at 8:13 was that it was a pregnant woman who was killed in the shooting. And I want to show you a bit of the scene of what happened. This is from our crews that were able to see police investigating. This is what happened around 9 last night near the Brothers Food Market. The county coroner says the victim is 22-year-old Jermia Offit. Police say she was found at the scene, rushed to the hospital where she died, and we did eventually learn she was 21 weeks pregnant with a baby boy. And today, community members and the victim's family gathered at the place where Jermia was shot.
They not only killed my daughter, but they killed my grandson. They killed my grandson as well. And now my grandbabies don't have a mother because of this nonsense that's going on around her. I need help, and I need help now.
And in this case, LMPD is still looking for the shooter, and they're asking anybody who has information to call their anonymous tip line for this case as well. Now, again, for looking toward tonight and whatever perspective and new context we're hoping to share with you, Wave News reporter Julia Richardson, she did manage to talk to Offit's family, and we're going to share a bit more of, what it is they're pleading with police and the community to do so coming up tonight on Wave News at 11. So coming back here in the studio, part of the response has also come from local prosecutors, in particular the Commonwealth prosecutors. Their warning tonight is not just for kids with guns or teens with guns, but their parents. The way the top prosecutor puts it is a get tough message in response to these specific violent crimes. Wave News reporter David Mattingly finds, at least in his reporting, prosecutors want to be able to punish parents in addition to juvenile offenders. It was a particular part of the press conference from Jarena Weathers calling on state lawmakers to pass what's called a parental responsibility law. Weathers saying it's the latest wave of this violent crime, showing that perhaps there needs to be another measure to curb, in particular, juvenile gun violence.
Let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a tough couple of weeks.
After multiple incidents of gun violence intruding into what should have been safe spaces and with tragic consequences, Commonwealth's Attorney Jarena Weathers wants to be able to bring civil and criminal charges against parents who do nothing when their children commit crimes with guns.
It is time for bold action and new solutions. During the same time we've been doing and hoping that makes things better on our own has not been enough.
Weathers seeks a parental responsibility law as another legal weapon against juvenile crime. A recently enacted law is already allowing her office to prosecute 80 youthful offenders for gun crimes as adults.
If you are committing adult crimes with a gun, you're going to be prosecuted as such. When juvenile cases get waived to us, ladies and gentlemen, they are all prosecuted as adult cases.
Recent violent youth crime raises new questions about all aspects of the justice system, from enforcement to prosecution and sentencing. They come at a time when there are no facilities to house youthful offenders in Jefferson County. It is regarded as a key element in breaking the cycle of violent crime.
I don't think it's a cause as much as we're fumbling an opportunity to use a resource.
Kentucky Youth Advocates Executive Director Terry Brooks says keeping offenders close to home keeps families connected and leads to better outcomes. But juveniles with minor offenses are currently being sent to Newport, Kentucky, near Covington. Offenders with high-level offenses are held in Adair, Fayette, and Warren counties.
And our thanks to David Mattingly for that report. David, also, as part of this reporting for the context, there's a state-run facility when it comes to youth offenders. That one was in Linden, but it's closed right now for an expansion to add security upgrades. That happened in September. The project should be done by mid next year, so mid-2026. And there are renovations on a closed facility in Louisville, but those are not going to be done until sometime in 2027. So just a lot of where you see the context of the big stories surrounding security, safety, laws, accountability, in particular for at least the pattern the police are looking for in young shooters involved in both of these cases. So a lot, of course, that we're going to be keeping a close eye on for legislative solutions, investment, or community-oriented solutions in that realm as well. Many more stories to break down tonight on Wave Extra, so hope you stick around. We're going to go over a bunch more, I would say, updates to investigations and police matters. We're going to let you know the latest that we know, talking about the latest watching your wallet, so something to discuss if you're dealing with debt right now. And a little further down, if you've seen how I'm dressed, it was just to stay a little as cool as I could outside the Kentucky Expo Center for the first day of this 121st Kentucky State Fair. I'm going to love to share bits and pieces of the fun we were able to have out there on the property today. By the way, of course, the fair is going to continue until August 24th, so plenty of time to go check that out. But hope you stick around to see what we were able to, taste and enjoy. We're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back with Wave Extra. All right, everyone, welcome back. It's 8:21 on this Thursday, August 14th. For this edition of Wave Extra, more headlines to share with you here in the Wave Now studio, and then some updates coming from police and investigators across all the metro and our backyard and our community. So we have learned, unfortunately, the name of a cyclist who was killed in a hit-and-run crash that has been released, and we want to share that graphic with you as part of what we've been able to uncover. The county coroner says 27-year-old Blair Sawyer died from blunt force trauma, and Sawyer died at the hospital. Now, this was a bike crash that happened Monday night just before 10. This is where the intersection of Chamberlain Lane meets Chamberlain Court. And LMPD tell us the driver who hit Sawyer drove away. They're still looking for them. They have not been caught. So something that could certainly, if you might have any indication that could help police, something that they would receive and use in their anonymous tip line or their portal for sure. Now moving on to another unfortunate update, and you might remember
45 is on the scene.
This audio right here.
We do have a house explosion. We do have a working fire. We do have people in the yard. We do have a fully involved working structure fire with a collapsed structure.
I want to pause on that image just so you see the devastation. If you remember that breaking news when this house exploded in Jeffersonville, we've learned a man who was in the home when it exploded has died from his injuries. In this matter, for the county coroner over on the side of the river in southern Indiana, they say 53-year-old Patrick Grimes died at U of L Hospital yesterday from septic shock. A social media post from friends says 2 more victims out of the 5 that we were told were badly hurt, that 2 of these victims are still in the hospital. 2 have been able to leave, though some requiring, of course, much more intense rehabilitation. Investigators say the explosion last month on Washington Way was caused by a buildup of gas inside the home. But again, the sad update being 53-year-old Patrick Grimes, who was inside the home when the explosion happened, died at U of L Hospital yesterday from septic shock. Now moving to another update we got from police and investigators that a victim in last night's shooting in the Klondike neighborhood has died. LMPD saying this was a shooting that happened around 11:30 on Middale Lane, which for parents who take their kids to Klondike Elementary School know that's not too far away. A man was shot. He was taken to the hospital quickly. Paramedics tried to keep him alive as long as they could, but he died from his injuries. Police say the shooting suspect barricaded himself inside his own apartment, but eventually came out and was arrested. You could see the names of both the suspect victim have not been confirmed yet and shared by the authorities. What those specific charges are, that is still pending. So that's just a summary of some of the updates we've been getting in the course of our work here on Thursday. And now we're kind of taking a bit of a turn to talk about consumer stories and the economy, and in particular when it comes to debt and whatever you might be managing in your situation at home. If you are struggling, many experts say right now it could be a good time to streamline all that. So this is part of our Watching Your Wallet series. Consumer investigator Rachel DePompa is taking a look at the ins and outs of debt consolidation right here.
Debt consolidation is a powerful tool that allows you to combine your debts into a single loan payment. Usually, this move will also lower your interest rate. Cherry Dale, the vice president of financial education at Virginia Credit Union, says you have to have a plan around this because debt consolidation only works if you're not going to open up new lines of credit and take on more debt. And she says unsecured debt is the best place to start.
So things like credit card debt, number one. If you have other types of debt, like buy now, pay later debt, is becoming much more common. That unsecured debt is something that you want to look at, and it's probably got the highest interest rates attached to it.
Dale says list all your different debts, your monthly payments, and the interest rates. If you have a secured debt like a car loan with a secured interest rate, that might not be something you want to consolidate into your other debts. She also says there are a few things to be careful of, including teaser rates and fees.
So you want to understand what you're signing up for. We see a lot of 0% interest credit card offers, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you got to understand after the 6 months to a year, what interest rate does it default to? and where are you at the end of that? And so just making sure that you have a plan around paying that off is really important.
Dale says you should also check your credit report if you're considering a debt consolidation to make sure you haven't missed anything. You can go to annualcreditreport.com for a free report from all 3 credit bureaus. With this Watch in Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
And by the way, that's always information you can access on our website, wave3.com. It's part of our partner series with those kind of resources where we really dig and dive into consumer finance stories, just so if you're wondering what questions, these are things you might be discussing and hoping to find out more answers to. Watching Your Wallet, a great tool and series that we definitely put those resources into to talk about ways to better manage finances that way. All right, we're going to take a break very briefly, and after that I'm going to show you a bit of our perspective with my photographer and myself. We're going to take a look at what the first day of the Kentucky State Fair out of the Expo Center was like, the fun rides, the food, the people. Hope you stick around to take a look at something we weren't able to share at least live if you saw our little check-ins on Wave News at 4, 5, and 6. So hopefully you stick around and see if this is something that, brings back some great memories, something you're looking forward to, not just through the weekend, but going into next week as well. So we're going to take a break really quickly and be right back with more Wave Extra. Well, let's call these the familiar sights, sounds, and screams of, hey, not just your regular old small carnivals or county fairs. This is the Kentucky State Fair. And here's our view from the ground at all the fun rides, of course, different speeds, taking you up and down across the Midway. We met some new friends, of course, along the way, trying to pop some balloons along the dart. You can imagine it's about winning those prizes for the kids if you're a parent, making sure you can give them that toy they see and really want to take home. You try your best shot with the darts and with the basketballs. If you're trying to, also be brave and take on those faster thrill rides, depending on the angles and all the things you want to try out. This was, I'd say, around our time. We were visiting the Midway between 4:30 to 6 o'clock this afternoon. So the weather, clouds in the sky, not too bad. By the way, of course, if you want to plan to go out to the State Fair, but just know what the forecast is going to bring, Kevin is going to break all that down for you tonight on Wave News at 11. That is a given. But needless to say, this is just the first day for a lot of fun and probably a lot of family traditions involved for so many people who come and visit from every corner of the Commonwealth to enjoy the fun and the games. And not to mention, when you step inside, this is our view from the South Wing, and you can see where it stretches from South Wing A, B, and C. Agriculture, one of the stars. You can see sort of those examples. That was a artificial or mechanical cow, and part of the setup there for folks, kids to know what that's milking. There's a live demonstration of cows being milked. I learned this was quite the cute, fun tradition of these little ducklings taking a little slide down this ramp after trying to grab some of their food in their feed. You could see that. It's just endearing as heck. We had to say hi to the roosters as well. But really a spotlight on all the different kinds of agriculture that goes on in the state of Kentucky. You saw their kids interacting with calves and pigs, sheep, goats, alpacas. We said hi to the horse having his own snack at one point in the afternoon. And if you're interested, at least for the kids, wanted to check out this section where Discovery Farm is. So this is, if you're familiar with the Expo Center's layout, and there is the South Wing, you're going to see where it kind of lines up where with a lot of the Midway games are. And this falls around the South Wing B section, which is, of course, it's a huge space. And it's not just that, it's the live shows. We saw some preparation for a ventriloquism performer show, BMX stunt performers, the pageant, Little Miss and Mr. pageant playing out today. Yes, he's excited about that as well. But a lot of variety for all of you who are familiar with everything there is to discover at the fair. All right, so what I'm going to show you right now is some of the other kinds of fun I had with my photographer, Ian Teasley, at the fair this afternoon. All right, folks, it's a given. You don't just not come to a state fair, especially one as exciting, as traditional as the Kentucky State Fair, and not jump on the dozens of rides. And we're talking rides of all kinds of speed. Easy, slow speed for the kids. You've got the really intense stuff. I'm going to gauge to see if this spinner, this sizzler, falls anywhere in the middle. So we'll see how that goes as I'm trying to narrate the spin. But just to give you that idea, we'll see if it's an exclusive for the Wave Extra folks. But if not, I'll let you know how I'm feeling as the spin goes. And of course, so much ground to cover as you make your way all across the Kentucky Expo Center. Here's where you start feeling the momentum taking you as I'm just trying to gauge myself, and I'm really trying to start to hold on. I want everyone to know just how hard it is to talk and make sense of it all while I'm spinning and trying to make eye contact with my photographer, Ian. But yeah, as a given, and you should know, by the way, I did not eat before stepping on this. That would have been a horrible idea. So the reward is going to be having some State Fair street tacos after the fact. If anyone else is alarmed or surprised or impressed I can still talk while I'm doing this, I think it's because I'm focusing and fixating on the fact that I need to still keep talking as I'm laughing right now. Okay, so yeah. By the way, when the weather is like this, it's not bad for a breeze if you're just looking for a way to cool off and hydrate at the same time too. So you've got your two sides, plenty of attractions spread out across the Midway. There's plenty to do inside as well. So we're gonna jump from here in the Sizzler to something a lot calmer, checking out the animals and the agriculture and the history. In fact, a pretty cool interactive exhibit that's celebrating America's 250th birthday. So, as I'm trying to breathe right now and talking. Whew. Thanks, man. All right. Slightly dizzy, but that's to be expected. Like I said, no food, no drink. That feels like the cardinal rule. Don't do this before you hop on a ride like this. I would still call it medium speed, but if I could feel it as intensely as I did, just know it's not for the faint of heart. So we're going to take probably a quick break inside, have a snack, and go check out the cool indoors fun. And let's be honest with ourselves, what's perfecto? Ah, no, entonces mejor un poquito un platico variado. Gracias, Susana. All right, folks, we finished the walk from outside in the midway where the heat wasn't unbearable, but you can start to feel it build up just a little bit. So we figured we'd take a spell inside South Wing, which, by the way, if you come here to the Kentucky State Fair, it extends all the way, not just from South Wing A, B, and C. If you kind of keep walking towards that way where the main walk areas are, so when you exit out that path, you can hit the main lobby, and that'll take you not just the North Wing exhibits, but into Freedom Tower. So much is going to be going on, and really, in the case of Freedom Tower, much more activity, busy once the weekend arrives for shows and entertainment for all the family to enjoy. Now, it wouldn't be the Kentucky State Fair without some food to enjoy. This was something we grabbed as we were trying to walk past a lot of those midway attractions. So shout out to Sabrina's Street Tacos. These came out ripping off of the grill. So we cheers to that. Sometimes all you need is just a savory street taco. I think I just saw him eyeing it right there. Yep. I saw you eyeing it right there. There you go, sir. How many years have we been coming to the fair, Phil and Linda?
Longer than I know how to count.
So I got only so many fingers on my hands and toes. More than that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably 40 years.
Have you seen things? I mean, obviously, you know, technology and things kind of make, you know, things look different, but sort of what is it you associate most with the fair when you come around?
The livestock and animals and all of the 4-H stuff. You see a lot of really neat stuff, and it gives you a lot of perspective of what's coming in that area. So it's really nice to see that stuff. They do an excellent job of laying it out. As you know, of course, it's all young people, and makes you really feel good about who's coming up next to take care of the world.
Mine's food.
You and me, it's about the food.
Yes, you know, if it's a deep fried Oreo, you know, deep fried bananas, whatever they're cooking out there.
I heard talk about a fried derby pie.
I've not heard that one.
You and I might have to find it. How's that sound?
Find that. I will find that. I come out here, we come out every day till it's gone.
And let's be honest with ourselves, what's one last bite at the Kentucky State Fair without something deep fried? We're here at the funnel cake stop out in the Midway. Shout out to the team there who prepped these deep fried Oreos for us. Powdered sugar, I don't care. What matters is the payoff. But yeah. Can't ask for much else. It's hot, and that's why I'm not talking as much as I should. But when I say it hits the spot, it hits the spot. So it's actually pretty manageable. Honestly, this feels like I could tackle this over a funnel cake. Now the funnel cakes aren't delicious, but it's manageable to see the 5 Oreos, not fill up too much on this, and keep going around the Midway and playing those games. So I'm just gonna keep eating these. So as you can see, we left with our bellies full, adrenaline flowing. It was quite a good time, and the fun does not end there, of course. It's going to extend through August 24th. We do have some of those articles and just, you know, all our different breakdowns of what's going on at the fair, those resources, and of course, not to mention that, but all the top stories we have for you here on the wave3.com homepage, breaking down the different subsections, updated at the latest whenever we get that information there at your disposal to get the details, updates, and information that you folks need. All right, 8:41. We're going to wrap up with one more summary of some stories we want to share with you tonight on Wave Extra. So we're going to take a commercial break and be right back. Thanks for sticking with us, everyone. Here we are, 8:43 on Wave Extra for your Thursday night. We have another chunk of stories and updates we want to share with you, so want to get right into that. In particular, an update from a West End school where they're now expanding their programming, their curriculum, what they offer to mold and care for the kids to now include girls. So we're going to bring up some of that video so you can see and listen in. Now, this is the first time for the West End School that they're doing this in the school's 20-year history. The school had hosted the grand opening of the program earlier today. Now, for anyone who might not know, the West End School is a tuition-free school in the Chickasaw neighborhood. Right now, the girls' new program is going to include pre-K through second grade, eventually, though, expanding all the way to 8th grade.
This school will impact so many of our youth. It will remove so many barriers.
So while the boys in class in the school currently, at least the staff there serve around 150 students, adding the girls' school is going to double the size of the student body. This is going to require, and it has, a physical expanding of the campus in order to have all the classroom space needed to accommodate that as well. So coming over to back inside the studio. Want to let you all know about a very interesting development. This is for folks, for students actually, in Montgomery County High. So Montgomery County of Kentucky, they're among the first in a sort of national experiment or an application as they were starting their first day of school for the year today, but with a brand new spin on security as they were coming in to start their classes. And it has to do with how AI would apply to detecting any threats or something to flag as the students were coming in and out and just being around the campus. And so for that, reporter Jackson Plank has the update from campus.
At Montgomery County High, school leaders are taking a previous incident and turning it into an opportunity.
As a principal, the goal every day is just to get students in the building and get them home safe. And we tell kids that even though you're here to learn, our #1 goal is to get you home safe to your parents.
Last year, a student brought a loaded gun into nearby McNabb Middle School. Since then, school leaders have been having conversations on how to keep students secure. Now, they believe they have found their answer in Zonar Technologies' TruePort. Unlike traditional detectors, TruePort doesn't rely on electromagnetic field to detect objects. Instead, it uses radars equipped with machine learning AI.
School leaders say the TruePort technology will be the first of its kind on the market. It will be able to detect things like ceramic knives and firearms, making events like last year more easily detectable.
If they have a ceramic knife or a 3D printed plastic firearm or a real firearm on their body, the indicator light will come up red and will identify which part of the body the threat exists.
Over the summer, high school officials began exposing students and their families to the technology. And so far, they've had a positive response from the community.
Anything that we can do to ease the kids and the parents' minds about being safe at school, I think we can do that, and I think we have.
School officials add that, like everything in education, it will be a learning process adjusting to the new technology. In Montgomery County, Jackson Plank, WKYT.
Now to an update coming back to the Louisville Metro. Texas Roadhouse says it's doubling down on a commitment to stay here in the city. Today, the CEO said the company is going to buy the buildings that house the Texas Roadhouse corporate headquarters and restaurant support center. The company just had it says its most successful quarter in Texas Roadhouse history, topping $1.5 billion in revenue for the first time ever. Texas Roadhouse leaders say none of that would have been possible without the late founder, Kent Taylor. And you're seeing some of the support there. And those two buildings, if you're familiar with they are on Dutchman's Lane. So that is an update on Texas Roadhouse's investment to stay and to have control of those buildings where they house all their big headquarter operations there. And one final story I want to share with you all, because something to enjoy, not just over the weekend, but just whenever you have that time off to enjoy this hobby for hikers, bikers, nature enthusiasts. There's going to be a brand new trail for you to use in New Albany. Earlier today, the Indiana Department of Natural Resources officially broke ground on the Monon South Freedom Trail. I want to show you some of that video there for the Monon South Freedom Trail. It's around a 1.5 mile asphalt multi-use South Freedom Trail is going to travel through downtown New Albany from Fairview Cemetery and Bank Street, connecting to the Ohio River Greenway at East 10th Street. People we talked to out there say they are excited to, of course, have access to another trail.
It means everything, because I like cycling, and it's gotten me much more healthy than sitting on the sofa watching TV.
Trying to be as active as he can there. Once all the additions to the trail are done, it's going to be the longest recreational trail in all the Hoosier State. So quite a feat and something for the community to be proud of and to enjoy at the same time. Well, thank you for staying with us tonight on Wave Extra this Thursday, folks. Always appreciate you joining us, not just through the Wave Now app on your smart TV apps and devices, but of course to everyone who's stuck with us and continues to tune in to share as we wind down the night on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Twitch. Great opportunities to connect and just kind of go over not just the stories that matter and are serious and deserve that attention, but also to talk about things that are going on in other parts of the community and things that would be interesting to you. So make sure you join us for another breakdown of the day's biggest stories on Wave News at 11, and it is a team effort when we do this, not just myself. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnett breaking down the forecast as we get closer to the weekend. We get into this groove for a new school year as well. And our reporters, Logan Perone, Julia Richardson, breaking down the stories, the conversations, the interviews that they have had through the course of the day. So hope you join us tonight on Wave News at 11. We will see you back here tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the Wave Now studio for Wave Extra. Until then, take care. We'll see you next time.